All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome in. My name is Alexis Miller, and I'm going to be your yoga instructor today. So, welcome to week 32 of our Yoga for Pregnancy series here on Wild Blue Yonder Media. If you're coming back, welcome back. And if you're new to this series, welcome in. These practices are designed to help you stay mobile, flexible, and able bodied as you move throughout pregnancy and hopefully help you feel as good as you can throughout this pregnancy process. So, just keep in mind that these practices, you can follow them by gestational age, week to week, if you'd like, or you can pop into different classes based on your ability level, what the body will allow for, and what your doctor has cleared for you. So, a few things as we get into practice, keep in mind your boundaries. Notice where you're ready to extend into postures, where do you need to modify, or perhaps stay in the center posture. Really keeping in mind, especially if you're in your third trimester, that we're experiencing a lot of relaxin in the body, which is um, that chemical that helps our muscles stretch and prepare to birth a baby, right? So we want to find our edge, but maybe pull back slightly so we're not overextending ourselves, hurting our joints, doing anything that might not feel good long term or later on. Also, keep in mind, I don't often cue water. So, if and when you feel thirsty, of course, please feel free to step off your mat, grab that drink, and join us when you feel ready. Finally, I just want to welcome in any support persons who are practicing today, be that a partner, a family member, a friend, or even a little family member. It makes a huge difference to do these practices in community with others while you're pregnant. So, thank you so much for being here. So, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and come into a comfortable seat. Your legs can be crossed or they can be straight out in front of you. We're going to wiggle back and forth to root into our sits bones, and we'll sit up nice and tall. Let's inhale as we bring our shoulders forward and up, and then exhale as we drop them back and down. Inhale as the shoulders come forward and up. Exhale as we drop them back and down. Hands come into a comfortable position, whether on your knees, palms up or down, or in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or simply find an unmoving point and soften your gaze here. So, we're beginning this practice as we have all of them with a breathing practice to help you connect with your baby. So, if you'd like, you're welcome to bring a hand onto your belly, a hand onto your chest, and take a moment to simply notice the breath just as it is. We're not changing it in any way. After your next exhale, take a long, full inhale through the nose, filling the belly, lungs, and chest with air. Then slowly exhale that breath back out. Take another long, slow inhale, fill the belly, lungs, and chest with air. And then slowly exhale that breath back out. On the next inhale, imagine drawing in all of the love that you could possibly feel for your baby and sending it to your baby. And on the exhale, imagine that baby is sending out all of its love that it could possibly feel to you. Inhale, connection to baby. Exhale, baby's connection to you. Inhale, hope for baby. Exhale, baby's hope for you. Inhale, dreams for baby. Exhale, baby's dreams for you. Inhale, wishes for baby. Exhale, baby's wishes for you. Inhale, love for baby. Exhale, baby's love for you. Taking a couple more breaths just like that, breathing in whatever it is you would like to offer to your baby, and then breathing out as you feel that same offering from your baby to you. After the next exhale, releasing your hands down into a comfortable position and simply noticing the breath as it settles back into its own rhythm and cadence. And then take a moment here as you set an intention or a purpose for your practice today, which really can be anything at all, but it often answers the question, why did I get on my mat? Take another deep inhale as you feel that intention with your heart and your mind. And then exhale that breath out as you set the intention off to the side, knowing we'll return to it toward the end of our practice. Lovely. Gently opening the eyes. We're going to come down onto the mat if you're using a prop. So go ahead and set that off to the side. Again, legs crossed or straight out in front of you, whatever's the most comfortable. Excuse me. Inhale, sweep your arms wide, bring them up overhead, cast the gaze skyward, and then exhale, twist over to the left, right hand to the left knee, left hand behind your body as you curve your nose around into a seated twist. Inhale brings you back into center as your arms reach tall. Exhale twists you over to the right. Left hand to the right knee, right hand behind the body as you curve your head around into a seated twist. Inhale draws you back into center, arms tall. Exhale twists you over to the left, not straining yourself, but curling that nose around so you really feel that length and that twist through the spine all the way up into the neck. Inhale draws you back into center. Exhale twists you back over to the right once again, curving your nose around. Good. And then inhale draws you into center. Your arms go tall. Exhale, drop your left hand down to the mat. Step it maybe about a foot out to the left. And then exhale, lean over to the left as you reach through those right fingers into a seated side bend. So reach through those fingers, feel that pull through the side body. Press into the bottom hand to keep your right hip, sit bone, rooted down onto the mat. Stacking the shoulders. So if that means you need to lift up a little more, totally fine. We want that good stack so we get the open heart center and the fullest stretch through the side body as possible. Good. Nice full breath here. Let it go. Inhale, let's return to center. Switching hands, right hand down to the mat. Step it about a foot out to the right, and then exhale, lean over to the right as you reach through the left finger, seated side bend. Press into the hand, feel that hip root down into the mat as you reach through those top fingers, stacking the shoulder blade here. Feel that pull open through the ribs. Good. Breathing. And then inhale brings you back up into neutral. Great work. We're going to come onto our hands and knees. So either roll over the knees or kick the feet out to the side. Bring the hands beneath the shoulders, the knees beneath the hips, tops of the feet come down onto the floor. We inhale as we sink the belly, lift the head and the hips, coming into cow. And then exhale, lift the back, sink the head and the hips, coming into cat. Inhale into cow, sink the belly, look up toward the sky, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale into cat, press the mat away, feel the shoulder blades separate here. Inhale into cow, nice arch in the low back, looking up. Exhale into cat, feel that opening through the upper back, that crunch through the abs. And then inhale into neutral. Great work. All right, on the next inhale, let's go ahead and lift our left foot, bending at the knee. And then exhale, extend that left knee straight or that left foot straight out behind you. Plant the ball of the foot on the mat. Step your hands maybe half a handprint forward. And then exhale, press into your hands as you spike your left heel away from the body. Elbows are slightly bent. Core is gently engaged. We're tucking our tailbone here. So we're really engaging the core, creating that nice flat back here. It's really easy to have a cow back, especially when we have a belly that's holding us down. So again, keep that core engaged, look down to the floor, shrug the shoulders down away from the ears. You're probably feeling this stretch. I know I certainly am. Let's take a couple deep breaths. And notice the tendency of that left hip to float up. If that happens, square it with the mat here. Good. Great work. Inhale, bring your weight onto your right knee. Hands are back beneath the shoulders here. We're going to go ahead and lift that left leg straight out behind us. Now you can stay here and do the work just with your leg, or if you'd like, inhale, sweep your right arm straight out in front of you, coming into pointed dog. Again, engage that core, tuck that tailbone, really reaching through the heel, reaching through the fingers. Good. Take a nice full breath here. Left elbow slightly bent. Good. Take another deep inhale. Exhale, bend the knee, bend the elbow, bring them into meet in a crunch in the center. Good. And then inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Last one. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Take a nice full breath. Inhale. Exhale, hand and knee, come back down to the mat. Great work. Shake out that left hand as you need. Maybe move the hips from side to side. And then we're actually just going to extend this left leg straight out to the side, perpendicular to our body. Sole of the foot is on the floor. Toes are pointing in the same direction as our head. Take a nice full breath. And then exhale, sink back into a child's pose with this leg extended here. So maybe you just sit back. Maybe you can extend those arms further out in front of you, lowering the forehead down. Maybe you come down onto the forearms. Shrug the shoulders down away from the ears. We're targeting the inside of this left leg, feeling an opening through that leg and opening up the hip as well. We're creating that opening in that pelvic region, which is something we're going to need when we give birth here. So again, lowering the chest down as far as you're able, adjusting the right leg as you need to accommodate the belly here, right? Taking a couple breaths. Excellent work. Inhale brings you back up into neutral. Drop that left knee down to the mat. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So again, hands beneath the shoulders. Inhale, bend that right knee, foot sticks up in the air. Exhale, extend that right leg straight out behind you. Drop the ball of the foot to the mat. Step your hands half a handprint forward here. And then exhale, press into the hands as you spike your heel away from the body, coming to your nice calf stretch. So again, if you've got a cow back, a U back here, tuck that tailbone, engage the core. Notice how that naturally turns the gaze down toward the mat between your hands. Elbows are slightly bent. Shrug the shoulders down onto your back here. Woo. And then notice the tendency of that right hip to float up. If that's happening, square that hip bone with the mat here. It's going to keep that stretch nice and deep in that calf and make you wonder, what in the heck was I doing to make it so tight? Good. Deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale brings you forward onto your left knee and then lift that right leg on your exhale. Again, you can do this leg work, single leg, no arm. Or if you'd like, inhale, bring that left arm straight out in front of you, pointed dog. Let's take a breath here. Again, flat back, core engaged, tailbone slightly tucked. Good. Take another deep inhale. And then exhale, bend the elbow, bend the knee, bring them into touch or toward one another to crunch in the inside here. And then inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Last one. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale, hand and knee drop back down to the mat. Shake out that right wrist as you need, right hand. Maybe move the hips from side to side. And then when you're ready, extend the right leg straight out to the side, perpendicular to your body. Foot is down, toes are facing the same direction as your head. Nice full inhale here. And then exhale, we sink back into our child's pose. Elongate the arms, forehead comes down toward the mat, does not have to touch. You can be on the forearms. You can be using a prop like a block for extra support. Bolsters are great here as well. That leg is extended. We're feeling that stretch to the inside of the right leg, opening up the pelvic region once again. So take a few breaths, adjusting the left leg as you need to accommodate the belly. Couple breaths. Good. An inhale brings you back up into neutral. Let's go ahead and drop that knee back down to the mat. Great work. And we're going to make our way on into a seated position. If you have a prop like a block or a bolster to lift the hip slightly, I invite you to find that now. I have my block on my low side. It makes being in a seated position just a little bit easier as it lifts the hips and makes it easier to maintain a long spine without having to engage the core in such a fierce way. Excuse me. So coming into your comfortable seat up on your block or your prop, if you have it, kind of rooting through the sits bones here. Good. We'll sit up nice and tall. Inhale, draw those shoulders forward and up. Exhale, drop them back and down. Inhale, the shoulders come forward and up. Exhale, they drop back and down. One more time. Inhale, shoulders come forward and up. Exhale, they drop back and down. And let's switch the direction. So inhale the shoulders back and up. Exhale them forward and down. Inhale the shoulders back and up. Exhale them forward and down. Last one. Inhale the shoulders back and up. Exhale them forward and down. Lovely. Let's go ahead and bring our arms out to a T and then exhale, bring that right arm across the body, sweep the left arm beneath it, and then bring the forearms to touch, creating a cross, and then pull that right arm across the body without rotating the torso, right? Not a seated twist. We're just pulling the arm across the body so we get a gorgeous stretch to the outside of this right arm and into that right upper back area, shoulder space. Hands can stay at a cross. You can also bring this left hand to gently hold on to your right arm. Sitting up nice and tall. Good. Take a full breath. Now, if you'd like, you're welcome to turn your nose over to the right. Take a breath here. If you'd like, you can turn your nose over to the left. Take a breath here. Good. And then inhale, return your head to neutral before exhale, release those arms back out to a T, opposite side. Left arm comes across the body. Sweep that right arm down and bring the forearms to touch and across, pulling that arm across the body here. Again, not rotating through the spine, staying tall and centered in the spine, but using the right arm to pull the left arm. We're feeling that stretch to the outside of the left arm, then into that left shoulder and upper back space. Right arm can stay right here. You can also come down and grasp the left arm if you'd like. Option, not requirement. Take a nice full breath here. Good. If you'd like, turn your nose over to the left. Take a full breath here. If you'd like, turn your nose over to the right. Take a full breath here. And then inhale, come back into neutral before exhale, release those hands down. Great work. I'm going to rotate onto my side or to the side here so you can see me a little bit easier for this next position. So same seated position, you're just seeing me from a profile view. We're going to take our hands and interlace our fingers behind our back. Now start by just reaching those fingers down toward the floor, squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting the torso, and maybe lifting the gaze slightly here. Already, you may be feeling a stretch through the heart center, the shoulders, down into the arms, down into the shoulder blades. You're welcome to stay right here. Your next option is to inhale, lift those arms up off the back as far as you're able, getting a nice opening here. It does not have to be very high for you to get the benefits here. So, taking a couple deep breaths wherever you find yourself. Deep inhale. Exhale, gently release those arms. Go ahead, sweep them forward, hollow out the belly. Look down toward your pelvis, down toward your feet for just a little counter posture. And then inhale up into neutral. Great work. I'm going to turn to face you once again. This is our last set before we make our way down off of our prop here. So, again, sitting up nice and tall, shoulders shrugged down. We're going to inhale, drop that left ear over to the left shoulder, feeling that stretch through the right side of the neck into the shoulder, maybe all the way down into the fingertips, just depending on what you've got going on in that area. You can stay right here. An option is to bring the left hand to the right side of the head and just rest the hand down. We're not pulling, we're not yanking, we're just resting the weight here, feeling that opening through the side neck into the shoulder. It deepens the stretch. Take a breath. Final option is to extend your right fingers down toward the floor. They may or may not touch, but feeling that lengthening through the neck, through the side body. Good. And we inhale, come back into center. Great. On the next inhale, drop your right ear over to your shoulder. So again, maybe you stay right here. If this is enough of a stretch for you, excellent. Stay right here and just feel into sensation. An option to deepen the stretch is to take that right hand and just rest it on the left side of the head. Again, letting gravity do the work, let the weight do the work without any pulling. We're not doing any action here. Good. Now, either staying right here if you'd like, or you can also extend those left fingers out toward the floor. They may or may not touch. That is going to deepen the stretch most certainly. So notice what feels good for you. Couple deep breaths. Good. And then we inhale, return into neutral. Great work. We're going to go ahead and come down onto the mat, remove your prop, set it out of the way here. Lean back onto your hands. Feet are a little bit wider than hip width. And then we just windshield wipe those knees back and forth, bringing the knees to touch on either side, to touch the mat on either side here. So we're just getting some mobility, some movement, some release in the hips. This is a great, very gentle mobility movement to do throughout your pregnancy to help support that pelvic health and to help prepare your body to welcome baby. So moving back and forth at your own pace, doing it as many times as your body calls for. Good. And whenever you feel complete in that, coming back up into a center position. We're going to come down onto our mat for final relaxation. So if you need a towel off, grab a drink of water, put on socks or a jacket for final relaxation. Now is your moment. We will not sit up for the rest of practice. So coming on down onto the mat here on your back, if that's comfortable and available to you. If not, coming down onto one side or the other, lowering down, stacking the hips, stacking the knees, stacking the ankles. Perhaps you place a block or another prop underneath your head here, just to help give it a little bit of lift, prevent any blood rush here. If you have another prop, a blanket, a pillow, or another block, you can always place that underneath the belly. That's a nice little release here. It gives some release to all the pulling that's happening through the belly as well as the low back. Options, not requirements. Also, keep in mind you can just return to a seated position if you'd like and treat this final part of our practice like a seated meditation. So, whatever feels good to you, finding that comfortable position and beginning to settle in. And as you do, start to notice your breath. Notice how fast or slow it is, how deep or shallow. Notice the quality of each breath on your inhale and the quality of each breath on your exhale. Feel into the gentle rise and fall of the belly, the gentle rise and fall of the chest. Really noticing that air as it moves in and out of your nose, up and down your throat. And allowing your attention to rest gently on the breath, just noticing its movements. But if and when your mind wanders off on a thinking adventure, it's okay. It happens to the best of us. So celebrate the fact that you noticed and then turn your attention back to your breath, back to your inhales and your exhales. If it feels right for you, perhaps incorporating a mantra to help you stay grounded and focused on your breath here. Inhale, I am. Exhale, patient. Inhale, I am. Exhale, patient. Remaining here with your breath for just a few more moments. I'm going to get quiet for these last few moments of practice so you can have them to yourself. Please know that I'm watching the time and I respect yours, and I will let you out of this posture before the end of practice. So lean back, let go, and just rest right here with your baby. Loving speech and deep listening are wonderful methods for opening the door of communication with loved ones. Bringing your awareness back to this space, Taking a deep inhale through the nose, filling the belly, lungs, and chest with air before slowly exhaling that breath back out. Take another deep inhale as you begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Move the arms and legs, gently waking your body up. And pausing here for a moment as I invite you to bring back to mind your intention or your purpose that you set at the beginning of your practice that answered the question, why did I get on my mat? Take a nice full inhale as you make your way on up into a seated position, and we close out our practice together today. So finding your comfortable seat, rooting into the sits bones, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, we draw those shoulders forward and up. Exhale, we drop them back and down. Hands come into a comfortable position, whether on the knees, palms up or down, in your lap, or at heart center. Closing the eyes if that feels comfortable for you. We take a moment to express gratitude for yet another lovely day here on earth and for our bodies that allow us to do so many things, including yoga and growing a baby. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through this practice today. It was a joy and an honor, and I hope to be able to do so again in the future. The light in me, it sees the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for week 32 of this Yoga for Pregnancy series here on Wild Blue Yonder Media. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you're enjoying these classes, please share them with a friend, whether they're pregnant or not. I have a ton of other practices on the channel that can support you kind of through any stage of life. So make sure to share those so I can serve more people. Also, keep bringing this body, mind, spirit connection and calm into the rest of your pregnancy journey. And you can do that by checking out Wild Blue Yonder Meditations. It's my podcast where I have recorded tons, hundreds of meditations, mindfulness practices, breathing practices that can support you in pregnancy, but also in other stages of your life. So if you have interest in that, make sure to like and subscribe there as well. They're all free, just like this. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope to see you in week 33, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. I'll see you in the next practice.